Yo, what's good, y'all? In this video, I was given the opportunity to interview the developers behind anime Reborn. Big thank you to all the developers to let me interview them. I made a community poll on YouTube to ask you guys what you'd want me to ask them, and I used your feedback more as a guideline for what questions to ask, because a lot of you guys were asking very specific questions. I didn't want to ask specific questions like, is there going to be a Bleach update next, stuff like that. I want to ask more general stuff about the game's future. Huge apologies though, because this video was actually recorded before the Christmas update. This video was supposed to be out way sooner. It's supposed to be out on Saturday. It is currently Thursday, so way overdue. It's literally completely my fault. I got caught up with some personal stuff, and then the first day that I was free, Anime Adventures came out, so I had to lock in for that video. So huge apologies to everyone that this video came out so late. So I was actually recording this video before the Christmas update dropped, so take that into consideration when you hear the responses. Super duper sorry. No excuses for it, but just take that into consideration. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. I think it gives you a good perspective where developers and where their heads are at, and overall it gave me a pretty good impression of this game's future. Hope you guys enjoy. To ask some more personal questions first. I mean, this is a little different now because there's like 4 of y'all, but I was gonna say, what do you think has been the hardest thing in making your game?
So the hardest thing in making the game, I'm not gonna lie, the hardest thing was actually creating the dev team itself, because obviously there's a lot of developers out there, a lot of them that are new to developing, and just creating the dev team and changing stuff to something that's more up to date on like what the new standards are. Because obviously when you start, you're not gonna know what's good or bad, because of course you know what a straight line is, you need to know what a crooked one is first, something like that. But essentially it's just finding the dev team, and then because when you start you might find like a dev that you think is really good, and then next thing you know he ends up not actually being that good because there's like a problem, and then there's another guy, he's better, then you get the better guy, but then you have to replace what you already done, and it's just waste of time. It's just the experience overall, getting into it, getting the correct dev team, getting the correct devs essentially.
It seems like all these other games have some controversy around the dev team as well, so it's like, you know, I'm sure it's hard to put together.
Devs. But once you have the experience, you know, like you know around the community of like Roblox development and stuff, you should know who's good and who's not.
All right, another quick one. Like, so what do you guys do in the development process? Since there's multiple of y'all, you guys can take turns answering this, but like, what are you guys hoping particularly?
Personally, I do planning for the updates, just making sure everything is done, everything is up to date, the commissions, just making sure everything is done in the right time for the update, because updating the game is actually more effort, more of a hassle than you might think, especially for a game that's a tower defense. It's actually quite high maintenance compared to other games like a shooter game. For shooter game, for an update, you could just add one gun to the game and then you'd be chilling. But for like a tower defense, you'd have to add a new map, a new story, some new mechanic, new units, 5 moves, 3, 4, 5 moves each. There's a lot to the updates, and like you're gonna want to get all these done like within a week, 2 weeks probably maximum, otherwise the community will complain, yada yada yada. And then you could even put all this effort in and then drop the update and everyone's just like, yep, this is trash, bro, hop on the next, hop on the other game, hop on the next, type of thing like that.
So I oversee all of the balancing of the game, make sure things get done in time for these updates. You know, it's a pretty tight schedule, so workload is quite a bit, but you know, it's manageable.
I also do planning with Moz, and then I'm also kind of in charge of getting or sourcing new developers to like commission and getting new assets made for the updates and stuff like that.
All right, so essentially I also kind of do the same as what Moz and Bravery does. I get the developers, get them into like group chats, making sure all the commissions are done on time as well. Supporting planning, obviously planning is probably my weakest part. Moz is probably the strongest for that. But yeah, overall just making sure everything's online, making sure everything's on track, and making sure like we get the update on time.
Right. Okay, so now some gameplay related questions. So I saw a lot of people asking, do you guys plan on adding any new summoning banners? Because people aren't like too particularly happy with this current 1 mythic per banner system. Do you guys plan on changing that?
Yeah. We're adding new banners, definitely. But I don't know. I think we're gonna put a unique twist on them, so I don't want to say too much.
Like to hear that though. That's good. What are y'all thoughts on 2x speed or 1.5? Any of that?
So right now I think the games are going pretty quick. I feel like 2x speed is just kind of overkill, especially since nowadays, like even if you do, like for example, we did an update. I think it was the Gohan update. Was the first, we did wave 20s, and people were still complaining about that, even though like the average time of completion was like 8-9 minutes. I'm coming from traditional tower defense. Well, I guess this game is kind of descended from those ones, but coming from those, like dude, like the games would be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. You yourself as like a traditional anime tower defense player, like the games are quite long, and like even with shorter games, people are still saying add 2x speed, this and that. Honestly, I think it's because of TikTok.
Yeah, their attention spans are fried, for sure.
It's crazy, bro. 2x speed, the game's are like 4 minutes. Come on, bro.
No, I agree.
Game's already 4 minutes. 2x speed on top of that. Crazy. But yeah, so we are shifting to obviously align with this new gen of like tower defense players where everything needs to be fast and quick. So most new game modes and stuff will be around 15 waves, about 4 or 5 minutes to match. If you're good, maybe you can get in 3 minutes. But yeah, that's what we're shifting to. I don't think 2x speed is definitely necessary, but if we ever add some really long game modes, we'll add 2x speed specifically or exclusively for that really long game mode.
Got it. I agree. I think 2 times speed is kind of like indicative that the game is too slow paced overall, but all right.
Yeah.
So, as you guys said, a lot of you help in planning. I want to ask, do you guys have like a roadmap for the game? Like, if you have the
So
next few
obviously-
updates planned out, like to some, extent.
Yeah. To some extent, we plan like ahead, about 1.5 updates ahead. But the thing is, though, like things change a lot. Like because of how much competition there is, like we could be planning one update. Okay, we're planning to do next update, for example, I don't know, solo leveling or something, and then the current update that we're working on right now could be JoJo's, right? We're halfway doing the JoJo's, or like almost done the JoJo's, and then like 2 other games just drop solo leveling. Like you're not just gonna also like nobody wants to grind some Jinwoo 3 games type of thing. So you're gonna have to like switch it up again. So it does fluctuate, but more than like we do have a roadmap for like especially for mechanics that we want to add and stuff. But
Okay.
it does change.
You guys plan on adding any new game modes anytime soon?
Any new game modes? Yeah, for sure. Even with this winter update, it's gonna be a new game mode. I don't think it's been seen before. I'm not too fond of playing other tower defense games. The only one I played is, of course, the anime adventure one. That's the only game I played properly. And but there's gonna be a unique new game mode. Plus another game mode. We've seen it before, but it's still new.
Another question was like the plans for the Christmas update. You kind of already mentioned it, but is there anything about it that you'd like to like sneak peek or hype up?
For this Christmas update, bro, I was gonna say, bro, I think it's gonna be a banger update. It's gonna be a banger update. I don't want to jinx it because, like, you could spend like I said, you spend like a freaking month on an update, and everyone's like, yeah, trash update, beat the game, simple as. But yeah, I do think this update is gonna be a banger. There's a lot of new content. We took our time with this one because all the other updates before this one, we've been doing it like on a week-to-week basis. It kind of like hinders our performance a little on like getting the update up to I want to say content heavy, and also I think the quality is still consistent, but the content heavy though. Content, there isn't much of it at all, and there isn't much new stuff because it's like, of course, it takes time to add new things to like a game to really plan it out. But for this, there is tons of new content, tons of characters, good bit of new mechanics. There's just a lot to this update, and I think it's gonna be a banger for sure.
How do y'all feel about the tower defense community overall? Like, what's your reception of it? Perception?
Tower defense, bro. You hate it and you love it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they give like W update. Sometimes they be like L update, like, and it's just a never-ending cycle of people saying change this, and then it's the other half of people saying no, don't change this. So you really don't know what you're doing, but obviously there's always like a baseline of things that should be changed, of course. But honestly, bro, it's like a love and hate relationship. You know what I mean? Because some updates we drop and people are like, yo, it's a W update. And then some updates like L trash game, boycott the game. But one thing I would say is like it is very toxic. It's a very toxic community, and the only thing you can really do is just like. Okay, so for example, if an update, like if people spawn an L update, rather than I don't know about other games, but we particularly we like to give everyone like freedom of speech essentially. So if an update, if people say an update is trash, okay, they can just say the update is trash. It is what it is. We're not gonna try and mute anybody. We're not gonna ban any creators for like trash talking the update or whatever. And sometimes we even do polls, like we see like sometimes I don't know if you see in announcements, like when we drop an announcement, we put the WL reaction, knowing fully well. Probably a lot of people will probably hit the L, but it is what it is. Just like give everyone a chance to speak, and then we improvise from people's opinions on what they think of the update and try to like improve. I think we did a stage recently. Yeah, we did a stage recently. I think the last update was a alleged L, probably an objective L now at this point. But yeah, we did a stage addressing what was wrong with it, what we could improve on, and yeah, we just take people's feedback and use it. Put it to work.
All right. What are you guys' thoughts on making the game more macro or anti-macro? Like, what would you say you lean towards?
I mean, we've definitely thought about it for like quite a minute now, because there's not really that sense of urgency anymore to be like, all right, yep, anime Reborn update. There's not like, oh, well, I need to grind this and that. It's just like, oh, I can just macro this. That's it. Goodbye. We're kind of leaning onto like kind of low-key removing macro a little bit, but it's not too much because, like I said, you want to have that sense of urgency to be like, yep, time topping. I just want to grind. Not be like, yep, I can just macro it, leave it overnight, and yep, updates finished the next day. So kind of leaning into low-key thinking about it of removing macros slightly.
And to add to that as well, we're adding like new game modes and stuff. That is, it's not just trying to avoid the macroing, but it's to the point the game mode like you can't really macro it. And not because we're trying to make it non-macroable by adding like I don't know, maybe like a gacha system. We're not doing none of that. Not a gacha capture system. We're not doing none of that stuff to make it non-macro. It's just the content itself, the way the game mode works. it will be very, very difficult to macro. So we're adding new game modes and stuff like that aren't really macroable. So it's more fun and more enjoyable rather than just standing in game, placing units, and hitting repeat. That's what a lot of it seems like right now. And I think that's what makes the game really boring. So if you're doing something the whole time you're playing the game, then there's going to be no reason to macro.
For sure. Okay. Do you guys think there's anything AR could be doing better right now in particular?
I mean, definitely just add more content in general, because there's always room for improvements for adding content, making sure things as enjoyable as possible. But yeah, there's obviously minor things that could definitely be improved. Obviously try to add more quality of life features that's possible, like the auto upgrade that we did do, and people really liked it. So yeah, we're definitely going to try to yeah.
To add to that as well, I think right now the main lacking thing we have right now in the game is the fact that there's lack of game modes. Because honestly, really think about it, there's just the story and legend stages. Raids 2, but I don't think people really like playing raids that much. But yeah, there's raids 2, but there's just not that much things to do in the game currently. So the next couple of updates gonna be working on innovating, adding new game modes, unique game modes as well. I just make the game better by just basically adding more game modes.
Yeah, and also follow up to that as well. Obviously, like what we could be doing better is just add more content, because I definitely do see people, like in general, a day after the update, finish the update, and one thing we could be doing is making sure the update does last longer, and that's why we've taken an extra week to make sure this Christmas update is the best possible update we can do.
Okay, this is like probably the most asked questions I want to say for like someone near the last. What are you guys' thoughts overall on Anime Adventures coming back? How do you think it'll affect the game, and how do you think it'll affect the tower defense market overall?
Okay, I expected this question. So basically, of course, we all love Anime Adventures. It was like obviously the initial game that started all these other games, including AR itself. But Anime Adventures come back, I am actually happy with it, because I don't know if you've seen, but the entire anime tower defense niche, like, dude, like, not to slay anybody, but all the games right now are like really like dropping in player count, like all across the board, like every game. I think AA come back right now probably like the best thing that could happen, because of course when AA did exist initially, like it wasn't really all that popular, you know what I mean? It wasn't really all that popular. It was really just the suspense in it and it being gone that got all this hype, because you was never seeing like 300,000 players, 300,000+ players on Anime Adventures. It's just now. So I think overall it coming back is definitely a W for everybody, including us as well, including every game, I think, because it's gonna really bring the hype back to the tower defense niche. That's exactly what we need right now, because dude, all the players across the board, all the games across the board right now are just really bro, the player count is really low on all of them. So yeah, I know it's come back, it's definitely gonna be huge. Gonna bring back a lot of hype.
No, yeah, for sure agree. Numbers are definitely dropping, and it's kind of like there's just so many games right now. It's a little oversaturated in general. I agree. I think AA is gonna bring back a lot of people. And with that, what do you guys plan on adding to make Anime Reborn stand out more compared to the competition? Would you say?
Okay, so stand out more than the competition. Bro, we're gonna have to get that one a little bit low key. So basically, it's really just the innovation. You know what I mean? It's really just the innovation. Like the auto upgrade was a very cool thing we added, and then obviously a lot of people liked it. And like even other games side just adding into their game, and that's really what you need. If other games are taking your stuff and putting it into their game, that's how you know like you're doing something right.
Those are the main ones, because a lot of the questions that people are asking are like, are you guys going to do a Bleach update? Are you guys going to do whatever? But like, I feel like it's way too specific, obviously. There should be more generalities about the game's future.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a little bit more of a personal question with me. Like,
yeah, for sure. Go ahead, man.
This is one like of my personal critiques in the game. I want to know y'all thoughts on it. Do you guys like, I don't know how much you guys have actually been hearing this, but how do you guys feel about the current miracle system? Because I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Miracle 1, Miracle 2, Miracle 3, Miracle 4 thing. Have y'all been receiving feedback about that?
To be fair, I don't think anybody really said anything, even though one of them I think is a bit trash. When I was genuinely playing the game, like making videos, I even said that as well. We did plan to buff it, maybe add change to something else, but it was just something, again, like the innovation. Like some things are going to be good, some things are going to be bad, but you should always still try and innovate. We want to do something different from the typical 300% damage or like one placement type thing. Make it like, how about add like 4 variants of it? But obviously when doing that, like there's no way to make it fully even. I think one of them is really not that good. One of them is pretty good. Actually, 2 of them is pretty good. One's okay and one's bad. I think the best thing we can do to that is just make them equally as good, if that makes any sense. Right now, I think no one's really said anything about that. I think they're just happy that the fact that they got Miracle in the first place.
True. So, but you would say like you guys are still open to like tweaking stuff like the trade system, like the trade specific.
Definitely.
Okay, that's good. All right, those are all the questions I got. Like I said, a lot of them are way too specific, so I just want to ask y'all some general stuff. I think it's pretty good. I like how acceptive you guys are of the criticism. You guys aren't making excuses. You guys are just talking about how to make the game better. Damn, voice crack. I'll cut that out. But very excited for the game's future, y'all. Hope you guys have a good one. All right. Any last words?
Appreciate it,
Thank you for the interview.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
See you, man.